What was that? Oh, y'all want me to review Power Book 2. Okay. Hey y'all, welcome to the channel. If you're new here, welcome to the tribe. If you are returning to Fierce TV, welcome back. So happy to have you. So the people were asking. Okay, nobody was asking, but I made the executive decision to start doing Power Book 2 reviews because I just love this show. This season is already off to such a good start, and I love the show. A lot of people have some mixed reviews about the spin-off series. I think it's one of those things where it's like, once you have like the original series and it's so good and it has like such a following as Power had, the original, I think it's just hard to follow that up. And I almost feel like people just kind of, people almost don't even want to give it a chance because it's like, it's never going to be as good as the original. And it's like, maybe not, but that doesn't mean it's not good, right? I honestly feel like the two spinoffs so far are just as good as the original. I'm not even gonna lie. I enjoy them as much as maybe not just as much as I enjoyed the original, but I do enjoy them. So I feel like they're worth reviewing. I want to talk about it. So yeah, without further ado, let's go ahead and get into the review for Power Book 2 Ghost. I'm going to be reviewing episodes 1 and 2 this week, and going forward every week after the episode airs, I'll go ahead and record and post my review of it so that we can talk about it and just recap everything that happened. So of course, while you're here, if you are enjoying hanging out with me talking about Power, then make sure that you give the video a like. Make sure that you also subscribe to the tribe if you're interested in this type of content, and also check out my other videos and see what else I'm talking about. But yeah, without further ado, let's get into Power Book 2 Episode 1, which is titled Free Will is Never Free. So, okay, first things first, side note, why is it called Power Book 2 Ghost when it's about Tariq? Does that bother anybody else or just me? Whatever, I'm weird. Anyway, so we start out the series where we left off. At the end of season 1, we had Tariq, and he had basically worked with Kane to kill Professor Reynolds because he basically was all in his business and trying to write a book about his life because he's a failing author. He needs something exciting to write about, and he's like, let me just steal Tariq's life and write about it, which it was just, honestly, listen, I'm not mad. I'm not mad that Jabari Reynolds is dead. He was getting on my nerves the whole season. The way he was doing Tariq was getting on my nerves. The way he was doing Professor Milgram was getting on my nerves. Listen, I was not hurt when he died, okay? But anyway, we're picking up the show right where we left off. It's actually the next morning. So we start off with Tariq kind of having like a nightmare about killing Professor Reynolds and also like killing his dad, and it's very clear that it's weighing on his conscience that at this point in time, like, Tariq is a whole killer out here at this point in time. So it's clearly weighing heavy on his conscience or whatever. He ends up waking up and we see that he's at his grandmother's house. Basically, he went over there after the whole murder went down, basically as an alibi. Later, we're gonna see him talking to his grandmother, and he's like, yeah, remember I came over here last night to spend the night because da-da-da. It comes up later on, his grandma can be like, yeah, Tariq was with me all night that night. So he wakes up, and the reason he wakes up is because the smoke alarm is going off. Little sister is in the kitchen burning the house down. Now, here's the thing. Grandma comes out, she's drunk, can't remember what's going on, mad at little sis because she don't know how to make breakfast. And I'm just like, first of all, Granny, when was little Yasmin supposed to learn how to make breakfast? When her dad was out cheating with Angela? Or maybe when her dad was in jail? Or maybe when her mom was in jail? Or maybe when her big sister died? Like, this little girl's life has literally been one turmoil and trauma after the next. Like, when has she had time? When has she had time for anybody in her family to even have a second of time to even give to her, let alone teach her how to cook? Like, this family been going through it ever since she was a baby. The first time we seen her, she was damn near choking to death on the little souvenir that Dad got from gallivanting with Angela, and we damn near ain't seen her since. So, yeah, Granny, I'm gonna need you to chill. She don't know how to cook because y'all ain't taught her how to cook, because y'all's life has been one tragic event after the next. So anyway, find out that basically because Tasha has gone into witness protection, Yasmin has been sent to live with her grandmother, but Granny is struggling, trying to take care of Yaz. She's drinking a lot. She's not remembering things. At first, I thought it was maybe like an Alzheimer's type situation, but then I realized that she's just really drunk. And it might be a combination of both. But either way, she's clearly ill-equipped to take care of a child, and Yaz like wants to go with Tariq, but Tariq lives on campus. He can't just bring a kid with him, so it's a tricky situation. My question, and I wonder, let me know if y'all have this question too, why would they send mom to witness protection and not the daughter? Usually when they send people to witness protection, don't they send the immediate family together? Why would they send a mother into witness protection and just leave the daughter out in the open? That doesn't make sense to me, but okay, power. But anyway, for whatever reason, she's not. Tariq is feeling bad because, you know, it's just clear that grandma is not equipped to take care of Yaz, but he's not able to take care of her either because of his situation. So it's just he's kind of stuck between a rock and a hard place, and so he has to leave. Yaz doesn't want him to leave. It's a sad little situation. So over at the Tejada house, we got Monet walking around nervous as hell because if you remember where we left her in the last season, she was getting her bar shot up, and then she done went and shot the plug, so they don't even have a connect no more for their drugs. So she done shot him. So now she's looking over her shoulders, thinks people are after her. Her son Drew has already been shot in the last season, so she's just a nervous wreck. So she's like hearing stuff and looking around the corner. She hears something downstairs. She goes to look and see what it is. Turns out it's Drew. He's walking around sad, moping because remember he got shot in the arm last season, and he's basically mad at his mom for getting him shot. He's pretty much mad at the world at this point in time. Like, he's just mad, and you know, we hate that for him, but we can clearly see that in the Tejada household, it's just a mess and turmoil. You got Monet out here, a nervous wreck, looking over her shoulder. You got Drew mad at the world, and especially his mama for getting him shot, and he can't use his arm because his shoulder's messed up. And then Diana just out here trying to not piss her mama off, per usual. So we see what Kane is up to. Basically, from last season, he's pretty much been kicked out of the family, but he wants back in. He's taken this TTG dude under his wing, who, it's just, why is he still breathing? Like, this dude, I don't quite understand the motivation for Kane, like, keeping this dude around, because I'm just like, do you really trust him? Surely you could find somebody else aside from like somebody that was literally your enemy and still has reason to like really hate you. But anyway, he's still kicking it with the TTG dude, and it looks like he's canoodling with a new drug dealer guy by the name of Mecca, who he's asking a bunch of questions about Kane's dad, who's in jail. And I don't know, it was a little fishy to me. Clearly it was a little fishy to Kane too, because he was getting a little snippy with the dude. But it seems like this dude is like well connected and like really like out here in these streets. So for whatever reason, Kane has a level of respect for him and he wants to be connected with him. But I don't know what this dude's motivations are, because why are you asking all these questions about his dad? Like, it's giving weird. So while Kane is talking to the guy Mecca, some of the TTG dudes pulled up and they're there to get their revenge on Kane. And they feel like the guy that's been rolling with Kane is a traitor. So they're basically there to get their revenge on Kane and the dude that they feel like betrayed their gang. But clearly this guy Mecca is not to be messed with, because he just did all that immediately, no questions asked. So it's like, okay, he not playing around. So we go see Davis with his cute self or whatever, and he has opened up a private law firm and he's taken on Cooper Saxe as a partner, and so they're working together now. He's basically trying to like let Cooper Saxe know, okay, you're not working for the United States government anymore. You're in a private firm, so you need to look the part. And he's basically just letting him know, like, when you're working for the government, you need to look like the good guy. But when you're working for a private firm, you need to look like money, so you can attract clients who have money to give you money. So he's like giving him a whole little image change or whatever. So while Saxe and Davis are chatting, Tariq ends up calling because he basically wants Davis to help him find his mom, because at this point, he's like, it's so much going on. The situation with his grandmother and Yasmin is crazy, and it's not something that he's able to deal with. So he's just trying to see if Davis can help him locate his mom. But Davis is like, I mean, we can try, At the end of the day, Davis is all about the money. So he's going to tell Tariq whatever he needs to tell him to keep like getting payments from Tariq, because he just care about money. But at the end of the day, we know that Davis is shady as hell. He don't really fool with Tariq like that. But at this point in time, Tariq needs his help. He wants to try to figure out where his mom is, so he's going to be paying Davis to be trying to locate her, basically. Cooper Saxe is like, he don't even want nothing to do with Tariq, but Davis is like, we gonna get his money, basically. So then we go see what Zeke is doing. Remember, in the last season, he ended up getting injured, getting into a fight with the TTG dudes and Drew and all that whole situation. He had to sit out some games, and he was on academic probation for some games. So he's basically, at this point in time, trying to decide whether he's gonna play another season of college ball or just try to go into the league. And he's just really trying to decide. It's clear that he kind of wants to stay in school for a little while longer because of his situation with Professor Milgram. So we'll see how that plays out, but it's very clear why he kind of is not ready to leave. So we see what Brayden is up to, and he's basically feeling pressure from his family to just kind of go in the route of his older brother and his dad and like join some organization that they were both a part of. He don't want to do that, of course, because all he want to do is sell drugs and do hood shit with his friends. So he's completely against that, and he's asking Tariq if he wants to go with his family on a hunting trip. And I'm like, now why would Tariq do that? Why would Tariq go on a hunting trip with you and your affluent Caucasian family? In what world has that ever played out well? But for whatever reason, Tariq is like, yeah, I'll go. And I'm just like, ciao. So there's cause for concern. But Tariq agrees. He decides, sure, yeah, I'll go. At the same time, Lauren comes up. She's congratulating Tariq on his mom winning her case and, essentially not having to go to jail. And as she's doing that, Professor Milgram is like asking has anybody seen Jabari, because they're supposed to teach this ethics course and he's not there yet. So she starts looking around for him. Now, of course, he ain't coming. So they're in the ethics class and they're talking about free will. They're trying to decide, is free will a real thing or is it an illusion? And while they're talking about this idea of like, you know, making choices and having the free will to make choices, Tariq is just kind of thinking back in his mind about all these choices he's made to just kill people. Basically, they ask him what his thoughts are on it, and he basically says that it doesn't feel like free will is free, but ultimately we are all making choices that we're responsible for. So we go to Councilman Tate's brother's house. Apparently, Councilman Tate has been crashing on his couch. His career is just in the dumps. He's basically just been crashing on his brother's couch. Of course, his brother is the cop, who is actually his brother in real life, which I didn't even know that, but I thought that was funny. But yeah, he's been crashing on his brother's couch. His brother is kind of giving him a pep talk and like, look, you need to get up and do something with your life. You just laying around on my couch. You ain't cleaning up. You ain't doing nothing. Like, this is not gonna fly no more. Like, you need to figure out what your next step is. You need to get it together. So he's basically giving him some tough love. Basically, we see that Councilman Tate is not done with his political ambitions. He's still out here trying to climb the political ladder, but because of who he is, we know that he's not going to try to go about this in the right ethical way. He is going to try and scheme his way to the top yet again. So back with Monet and Diana, they're at their bar. They're basically, all of the shipment that Monet got from their connect before she murdered him last season, it's basically just been hiding in their bar, which of course is closed because it got shot up. So they go shopping first and they get all these designer bags, and then they go to the bar. They put all the drugs in the designer shopping bag so that when they put the bags in the car, it just looks like they just have a bunch of shopping bags. So, you know, smart plan or whatever. So they're driving around. They got all these shopping bags full of drugs in the car. And Monet is like, Diana's driving. And Monet is like, oh, let's stop right here so I can go run in the store. And Diana's like, girl, why are you trying to run in the store? We got all these drugs in the back. And so Monet is like, no, it's cool. And I'm just like, Monet, girl, are you okay? Because you're just making bad decisions. Like, here's the thing. Monet is this super street smart, super intelligent, super strategic hood chick who just know the game and know all this stuff. And it's like, yes, your bar got shot up last season. Yes, your son got shot in the shoulder last season. But that's regular street stuff, right? Like, that's stuff that comes with that lifestyle. So the fact that shook her up to the point where she's just out here completely frazzled and making dumb decisions, it's like, girl, I need you to get it together. So she's out here just making dumb choices. She's like, no, I'm just running the store. So Diana's just sitting out here with all these drugs in the car. So of course Monet goes in the store. She comes out the store. Police are behind Diana. So Monet is literally like sitting here like about to pull her gun out and stuff. And I'm like, what are you gonna do, Monet? Start shooting at the cops? Like, what are you about to do? Have a shootout with the police? Calm down. She comes out, she's nervous, but then she sees the cops walking away. When she gets to the car, Diana's just like, it's cool. I talked to him. I flirted with him a little. I did what you taught me or whatever. And so we just kind of see that like Diana can hold her own in that situation. So when Monet and Diana get home, we see Drew come in his room, and then we see that the thing that Monet went in the store to buy was pencils and a sketchbook for him, because remember, he draws. And unfortunately, the shoulder that he got shot in is the hand that he draws with. So he pulls out the sketchbook and stuff, and he tries to draw, but he can't. He's not able to like hold the pencil steady and draw and stuff because his shoulder is not healed. So he just ends up getting frustrated and stuff. I feel like Monet getting that gift for him was specifically for him to give him an incentive to like try to strengthen his hand back, because I feel like right now Monet feels like the family does not have protection. I feel like she bought him that specifically so that he can like be trying to strengthen his hand by trying to draw, kind of similar to the way Jukebox was trying to get Kanan to strengthen his hand, but she wasn't trying to get him to strengthen it by holding a pencil. She was trying to get him to strengthen it by holding something else. But anyway, I feel like it was kind of similar to that when Kanan was trying to like make sure that his hand was strong enough to like pull the trigger again. And it's basically the same thing. Like, if I give him these pencils and the sketchbook and he starts drawing, then his hand will get stronger enough. He'll be able to pull the trigger. He'll be able to protect us. Same kind of deal. But Drew just kind of gives up. He gets frustrated. He throws the stuff on the bed. We hate that for him. So Brayden's parents, they have this whole big kickoff party situation before their hunting trip every year. So Tariq is there with Brayden and all of his family. Tariq is the only melanated person in sight. There's all Brayden's family there. But also at this thing is a congressman named Congressman Sweeney. We find out that he's a very close friend of Brayden's family. He's going to be going on the hunting trip with them. And he is just microaggression after microaggression. So first he's just like making assumptions that, oh, you're going to Stansfield because of affirmative action. Oh, you must be there on financial aid. And like Tariq is like, no, actually I'm not on financial aid. My dad's money is paying for this. And he tells him who his dad was. And he's like, oh yeah, James St. Patrick. I know, he was such an impressive man, and da-da-da. And just really just with the casual racism, you know how it goes. And he starts talking about like, oh, it must be hard with all the rumors that were going around about your dad and him being a drug dealer and this and that and the other. Yeah, what drugs have done to minority communities is just so sad. And Tariq is like, I mean, yeah, it's about as sad as what opioids have done to middle America. And the senator is basically like, I mean, that's not the same thing. Legal drugs and illegal drugs are different. And Tariq is like, the only thing that's different about legal drugs and illegal drugs is that politicians are having their pockets lined by big pharma to keep certain drugs legal. That's the only difference. And he was like, how much money have you taken in order from big pharma to keep certain drugs legal? And I was like, yes, Tariq, shut him down. The thing is, in real life, this is really how this stuff really be going. When you are in spaces where you're like one of the only Black people, especially when you're in spaces where it's like more affluent, wealthy, highbrow, it's like they're always trying to like throw little microaggressions in your direction just to see what you're gonna say or see how you'll handle it, because they feel like you're in our space, so we can get away with this more here. And I'm so glad that Tariq did not just let him slide, because it was like, you know, I'm in y'all space. I'm glad he like shut him down. So meanwhile, police have found Jabari's body. I don't know why it took them this long to find it, because they literally just shot him and left him laid out in the middle of a park. They didn't like hide him up under nothing. They didn't like put him up under a tree or push him into the water. Like they literally, like, nobody jogs through that park in the morning. Nobody walks their dog through that park, and they're like, why is it like hella late in the day when they find it? But anyway, whatever, they find Jabari's body. We see some detectives just out there talking about it. While they're at the crime scene, they do recognize that the gun that was used was Detective Ramirez's gun, and that was pretty much Tariq and Kane's whole plan. Like, I'm gonna shoot him with Ramirez's gun. And so they're basically trying to use that connection to make it seem like it was some stuff that Ramirez was in. So back to Councilman Tate. He ends up going, he's dressed in his Sunday best. He goes to the DNC guy's house that was kind of had that power to help get him into a Congress seat previously before shit went south for him. And he's basically telling him like he's ready, he can do it. He's basically saying that there's a congressional seat that he wants for himself, and turns out that that congressional seat belongs to Congressman Sweeney, who was the one that Tariq was going back and forth with. And so basically the DNC guy is like, there's no way Congressman Sweeney is going to lose re-election. The only way that that's going to happen is if some dirt, like some major dirt, comes out on him. So they're pretty much laying it out pretty thick that Councilman Tate is about to be on a quest to get some dirt on Congressman Sweeney, and he's probably going to be going through Tariq because now Tariq has a connection to him. So meanwhile, Professor Milgram is walking. She's on the phone with somebody at her therapist, I guess, and she's just telling them how she's done with Jabari, because of course at this time she doesn't know that he's dead. And she's like, she's done with Jabari and she's done with Zeke and she's moving on. She's making better choices. And she's like, a new guy, that I used to deal with called me up and he wants to meet up. And I think this is going to be really great. And so she's like, I'm actually on my way to see him now. And so when she goes to meet this person, the guy turns around and it's one of the detectives that was at the crime scene. Detective Kevin Whitman is his name. And so he's basically like, yeah, can I take you somewhere real quick? And so when they get there, it's the morgue to identify Jabari's body. And I'm just like, what kind of cruel ass shit? Who does that? Like, the fact that he hit her up and was like, yeah, let's meet up real quick. And it's for her to identify the dead body of somebody. Like, I was like, what the hell is wrong with this dude? Like, and the whole time, like, she's like looking at the body, he's like staring at her. And it's just like, dude is weird. I don't like him, but clearly he feels that Professor Milgram probably has something to do with it. He's asking her all kind of questions. Of course, she's crying. She's sad. She had a history with Jabari, even though they were not on good terms when he died, but she's still sad. She had a history with him, but it's very clear that Detective Whitman feels like she is responsible for his death somehow, or at least knows something. So he's just like questioning her and looking at her crazy, and I'm just like, yeah, I don't like you. We're gonna see what he about as we go on, but I don't like him. So back at school, we see Brayden complaining about his dad and his brothers trying to pressure him into joining in with this organization that they're a part of, like a fraternity or brotherhood or something like that. And as he's complaining about this, the news comes through that Professor Jabari was shot. Like, everybody's phones start beeping, and it's basically the news that Jabari was found dead. Of course, Tariq, being the pathological liar that he is, he just kind of plays it off like, oh my God, that's crazy. Like he ain't the one that pulled the trigger. So it's like, okay, guess you're not gonna tell Brayden what happened, which I mean makes sense. But yeah, he just kind of plays it off or whatever, while everybody on campus is just kind of getting the notification on their phone that he's dead. And so back at the Tejada house, Monet is basically having a conversation with Drew and Diana, and she's just like, look, we need to get out the drug business. And I'm just like, Monet, like, it's just so funny to me how Monet is just so frazzled and just like, we got to get out of this. But anyway, Monet is like, yeah, we got to get out this business. Basically, this is what we gonna do. We gonna have Zeke go ahead and go to the league. Whatever city he get drafted to, we're gonna go with him and we're gonna start over, and he's basically gonna be our meal ticket for the most part. And she's like, I'm gonna be his manager, I guess, and Diana, you can be the one that kind of just keeps the women away from him. And like she has a role for everybody. And it's just kind of like Zeke was like your retirement plan the whole time. Like that's why you've been so like a part of his life and his education, and you know, having his back so much, because you always intended to use him as a retirement plan. Like, that's kind of trash. But anyway, she's basically telling them this after the fact. Drew and Diana are just kind of talking, and they're just like, you know, they're feeling some type of way about her just kind of like not even giving them any type of choice in the matter. And it's just like, they're adults. And it's just like, at this point, we not just about to do whatever you say we're about to do. Monet has planned out this whole entire future and didn't even like ask them if they were okay with it. So they're kind of feeling some type of way about it. And so it's giving very much a rebellion is going to end up happening in this household. But anyway, we'll see how that pans out. So Tariq is back at school. He's just kind of staring at his phone because he's waiting on Tasha to call him, because that particular burner phone he has, he knows that Tasha has the numbers to that phone. Now, he really should get rid of that phone because it can be traced back to the Jabari murder, because he had communicated with Jabari on that phone. So he gets like this like image of Kanan letting him know, like, you know what you need to do. You need to get rid of this phone. But he just can't bring himself to do it because this is the only way that his mom has a way to reach him. While he's in there, Lauren comes in and, you know, she's sad because Jabari is, you know, she's crying about it and stuff. And, you know, every time she show up to try to comfort him or something, it's just always so thirsty. He's just talking about how his mom is in witness protection and stuff. He doesn't know where she is, the situation with his sister. And she's just like, oh my God, Tariq, I feel so bad for you. Let me help you. Like, every single time she like comes to him to try to comfort him, it's never like, let me just comfort you. Let me give you a hug. It's always like, oh, I'm so sad for you. Here you go. Like, it's always on some thirst stuff. I kind of have a problem with that. Because my thing is, clearly you like him, right? But it's like, chill. He's going through real stuff. And every 5 seconds, you're trying to push up on him. Like, he's telling you the stuff he's going through. Maybe he's mentally not prepared to be, you know, getting busy with you. Like, calm down, Lauren. Like, relax, sis. Relax. She's being all thirsty. Of course, as usual, Tariq ends up getting a call. He has to go. And she's feeling away about it. Kane and Tariq end up meeting up because, of course, now that the murder of Jabari is like out and people know about it, they're just trying to like figure out what they're gonna do. Tariq is like, look, we're cool. Neither of us is gonna go down for this. Like, we're cool. Meanwhile, Zeke decides to go visit Carrie to make sure that she's okay, because he knows that Carrie and Jabari had a friendship. And because it's Carrie Milgram, she immediately smashes him. I mean, of course, we know that Professor Milgram has a sex addiction. It's just the fact that sex is her outlet when she's feeling emotions. Like, that's how she deals with things. So, you know, he comes over to give her condolences, and she gives him something instead. So back at the Tejadas, Monet is cooking. She invites Tariq over, and while he's over there, she ends up asking him about Jabari. And she's like, do you know what happened with this? And Tariq, being the pathological liar that he is, of course, he's like, no, I don't know what's going on. And so he just flat out lies to her. After dinner, he and Diana are having a little moment or whatever. And it seems like Diana is basically just like trying to get the truth out of him. It seems like she didn't believe him. And so she's pretty much like, let me try to use my little femininity to try and get the truth out of him. And so she's kind of pushing up on him, but then Monet walks in, she sees them getting close, she shuts that shit right down, which I'm just like, you taught her how to do this, you know, like you taught her in season 1, like you literally spent season 1 teaching her how to get things from men and get information from men using her femininity. And it's like that's what she's doing, and you have a problem with it. After Carrie Milgram and Zeke smash, they're just basically talking. Carrie is asking a lot of questions about Monet and Zeke's family, because remember last season Monet had came and threatened Professor Milgram, and so she basically knows like what the family is into. So it seems like she's kind of she's putting pieces together in her head, like maybe they had something to do with Jabari's death. And so she's asking Zeke all these questions. Zeke is trying to basically defend Monet. But during this conversation, she does let Zeke know that Monet had threatened her when she found out that Zeke and Carrie Milgram were messing around. She's like, yeah, your aunt came and she threatened me and told me not to mess with you no more. And so Zeke, he wasn't aware of that. So it's clear that that's like kind of gonna put a little bad taste in his mouth when it comes to his aunt, because clearly he feels very strongly about Carrie. So it's just like, oh, dang, like my aunt really came behind my back and threatened you. So it's clear that Zeke is feeling a little ways about that, but he's still, like, for the most part, trying to defend her at the end of the day, you know, family. So Brayden and Tariq are about to head up to the family hunting trip. They get in Brayden's new car that his parents just bought him, and Tariq is like, oh, I need to put all these drugs in here. It's just like, okay, so they got all the drugs that Tariq just got from Monet in the trunk of the car. And Brayden's like, you know, you think we'll be cool to, you know, drive this up, you know, to my family's for the camping trip? And he's like, yeah, we'll be cool, just drive the speed limit or whatever. Meanwhile, Kane goes to see Mecca. He goes to meet him at this airplane hangar, and it's basically, you know, it seems like Mecca is trying to like test him and just kind of see what he's about, because he's got one of the TGT dudes, the one that from earlier who tried to like come at them earlier, that had ran away. He's got him tied to a chair, and he's basically like, look what I got for you. And Kane is like, nah, untie him. Like, I don't need him to be tied up. And so Kane basically asks, you know, has him untie the dude so they can like fight one-on-one. And so, you know, of course Kane beats him down as a way to like prove himself. But then afterwards, he's just like, I don't have to prove myself to you. Like, I don't need to prove nothing to you. But you did though, and you went along with it. So, but you can basically see just like this dynamic between the two of them is just that, you know, this guy Mecca recognizes that Kane clearly wants to be like connected with him like in this life, but he's like just kind of putting him through these tests and hoops. And Kane is just, his personality is like, look, I'm not trying to be out here jumping through no hoops or whatever. Like, you know, yes, I do need you technically, but his personality and his pride just will not allow him to just simply jump through the hoops and leave it at that. Like, it's like a battle of egos between the two of them, basically. So after the whole situation with Kane fighting the guy, Mecca has walked off somewhere, and Kane sees that in one of the planes in this airplane hangar is like a whole bunch of drugs. And it kind of feels like Mecca set it up that way specifically so Kane could see. Either way, Kane sees all the drugs and stuff. So off top, his mind is going because he's been trying to get a connect. Mecca comes up and he's like, what are you doing looking through my stuff, da-da-da. But it's like, Mecca, I feel like you put this out here so that he could see it. But basically Kane is like, look, looks like you need help. moving this, and he basically offers himself to be a soldier for dude. So we at the hunting trip. It's a hot ass mess. We got Brayden's folks and Congressman Sweeney running around, rifles in army fatigues, and Tyreek running around with them. And I'm just like, child, why? But in the meantime, Monet ends up going to see Zeke. So she's kind of like putting it in his head to go ahead and go to the league, letting him know that like, this is what's going to be best for you, and you just need to leave Professor Milgram alone, and you just don't need to let nobody throw you off your game. Like, this is the best option for you. And she's just kind of like putting that message in his head and pressuring him to do that. In the meantime, Tate is at his brother's house, and he's like, look, I need you to get me into the police database so that I can just look around and try to see if it's any, dirt that I can find on Congressman Sweeney. And his brother is like, why? Clearly politics and ethics don't mix, but So we get Davis going to see his brother, who is in jail and who is Redman. We basically see the dynamic between him and his brother. His brother is very sick, and he's like, I'm gonna get you out of here, basically. And he's basically telling him, like, this guy that I'm working with, and the guy that he's talking about is Cooper Sachs. He's like, he's gonna get you out. Seems like that's probably like the motivation behind Davis wanting to like bring Cooper Sachs on in partnership, because he feels like he can get his brother out of jail. In the meantime, Kane shows up at Monet's house because, he basically wants to let his mom know, like, I got us a new connect. But Monet is so damn paranoid and scary that she won't even let the boy in. So he's just outside knocking, and she just like, nah. She just walks off and leaves him outside, okay? So on the hunting trip with Brayden's family, Congressman Sweeney ends up seeing a deer, and he shoots it. Once he shoots it, everybody goes to like run over to see, if the deer is dead. So while everybody's kind of running over, Congressman Sweeney just decides to take another shot in Tariq's direction. And I'm just like, see, this is why you should not have gone up here with them. So Tariq is just like running, because it's like, wait a minute, did this just shoot at me? And so he's just like running off. Brayden is like, what the hell? What are you doing? You almost shot Tariq. And so Tariq kind of runs off. He gets up to the deer, and as he looks at the deer laying there shot, he just like starts getting all these flashbacks again of all the bodies that he done collected. And he's having this internal struggle about the things he's done, the people he's killed. Brayden's dad comes over, and he's like, oh my God, I'm so sorry about that. And it's just like, you don't just say I'm sorry about that after your homeboy just like nearly ended him. Like, nobody gonna ask why he just decided to take another shot in Tariq's direction. Like, nobody gonna question that? Okay. So he's just like, oh, I'm so sorry about that. You can have the kill shot, because the deer has been shot, but it's not dead yet. And so he's like, you can have the kill shot, as if that's like some sort of, apology for the fact that you just almost got blasted. But okay, it's giving weird. It's giving very much Get Out, but okay. And so he's like, yeah, you can have the kill shot. And so now Tyreek is standing here over the deer after he done killed his own daddy. He done killed Professor Jabari, but he can't kill the deer. And I'm just like, but you're a killer. But for whatever reason, Tariq, he doesn't want to take the kill shot, and Brayden ends up shooting the deer instead. He just blasts it, no questions asked. It's just, again, just this idea of Tariq just being so torn about this stuff. But it's like, this is the life you wanted, homie. Like, this is what you wanted. You wanted this so badly. Anyway, Brayden ends up taking the kill shot on his behalf. We get back to the school, and Tariq is there. He still got this burner phone that he know he should have been got rid of, but he's hoping that his mom calls him. So he's sitting there looking at the phone and just like hoping his mom calls him, and the phone rings, and he sees that it's an unknown number, because he wants so desperately for it to be his mom, he answers it, but it ain't his mom. It's Detective Kevin Whitman calling the phone because that was the last number that Jabari called before he died. So Detective Whitman is like, hello? And Tariq is just there and he doesn't say anything, and then he hurries up and hangs up the phone, but not before they were able to trace the number and determine that whoever it is that Jabari called before he died is at the school. And so that's how episode 1 ends. I'm very interested to see how this Congressman Sweeney situation plays out, because why the hell was you trying to shoot Tariq? Like, surely it wasn't just because of this big pharma conversation that y'all had. Like, you really tried to shoot him. Like, I'm just very concerned about that. I'm also very interested to see how this mecha character plays into it. Like, I can't really tell what his motivations are, so we'll see. That's pretty much it for episode 1. I'm excited for episode 2. Let me know what y'all thought about this first episode in the comments, and let me know what y'all's like predictions are for the rest of the series. Make sure you like this video if you're still here. Make sure you subscribe to the tribe if you want more of this type of content, and I will see you in the next video. Bye.